The Galactic Council sat in the sky above Zova Prime, floating in the vast black space like a glittering jewel. The station was the largest ever built, home to over 60 species from across the galaxy. Its halls were polished, the air was clean. The technology was the best of the best. Today, the council had gathered for a new meeting. The topic: Earth. Ambassadors from every major race sat around a long circular table. Holographic displays floated in the air. Translators clicked softly. Some of the aliens adjusted their posture, their scales or fur twitching with boredom. "Humans," said the Varnak leader with a loud laugh. His face looked like a melted metal mask, eyes glowing red. "Why are we still talking about them? Their planet is barely out of the fossil fuel stage." Others laughed too. "They still use metal ships. They still walk on 2 legs. They think shields are a luxury." Every insult brought more laughter. A few ambassadors didn't laugh, but they stayed quiet. High Chancellor Rethavel, a sleek, blue-skinned Solarian, raised her hand. The room fell mostly silent. "The humans were invited," she said, "as tradition demands. Even the weakest worlds have the right to speak before the council." Again, some aliens chuckled. Others whispered, "They are a death world species." Someone muttered, "A primitive one," said another. Still, the rules were rules. Earth had received the formal invitation weeks ago. Now they were coming. Or so the council thought. A view from space near the edge of the council's orbiting station. Thousands of smaller ships floated. Diplomats, traders, security teams hovered around the great council hall like fish near a whale. Then everything went still. Suddenly, many screens blinked red. A warning tone echoed across the control rooms of dozens of species. "Unregistered object detected." The AI systems repeated. Size, massive speed, slow, steady direction, straight toward the council station, but no known registry matched it. No ID signal, no code, nothing. "What is it?" asked an officer on the Syrian patrol ship. No answer. "What kind of ship has no signature?" Then the shadow came. Like night swallowing day, the great light from Zova Prime dimmed. The object blocked out the nearby stars. A council technician gasped. "It's a ship," he whispered. "It's a Terran ship." The arrival of the Sovereign Vow the humans had named it Sovereign Vow, but to the others it looked like something built for war thousands of years ago, if war had evolved. Into horror, it was massive, longer than most city ships, taller than council towers. Its black hull didn't shine. It absorbed light. Weapons lined every corner, some glowing with blue heat, others cold and ancient. Some weapons no one could identify at all. No one had ever seen this class before. Some thought Earth had no such power. They were wrong. On the main bridge, Captain Alina Kai stood in silence. Her eyes stared forward. Her uniform was dark grey. Her badge had no rank, only the Terran symbol. A single, cracked world inside a shield of fire. "Status?" she asked. "All systems green. All weapons offline. But we are being scanned by over 300 ships." Her AI replied. "Let them scan. They'll see the truth," the AI said. "I know," Alina replied, her voice calm. "That's the point." Panic on the council station inside the council hall. Panic spread like a virus. "It's too close. That ship is not answering." "Hales, deactivate its weapons. We can't, it's interfering with our sensors." Many systems started shutting down. Lights flickered. Shields deactivated. Even security doors failed. Whatever the sovereign vow was doing, it wasn't firing, but it didn't have to. Its very presence broke things. Even warships, orbiting nearby, pulled back. A strange silence, then the ship did something strange. It stopped. Moving, it floated above the council station like a giant sword held in the sky. No threats, no weapons active, no words spoken, just silence and fear. Ambassadors looked at each other. No one wanted to admit it, but all of them felt the same thing. Dread. Was this a message, a test, a warning? The silence grew longer. Then a single sound echoed across every open channel in the station. A voice.female.com cold. This is Captain Alina Kai of the Terran War Command. We are here as requested. The room went still. The shadow of the past one council member, old and forgotten in the corner, stood slowly. His name was Cortal, a Phrynian one of the few who still remembered Earth's real history. He looked up at the ship on the hologram. I told you, he said softly. I warned you years ago. No one replied. Humans do not forget, he said. They only wait. Cliffhanger ending of Part 1 on the station's outer hull. Engineers tried to reboot communication links. Nothing worked. One engineer saw a strange reading on the scanner. What is that? His partner asked. He zoomed in, floating above the Sovereign. Vow's hull. Dozens of smaller objects had begun to move. Not ships, not drones, figures, humanoid, tall, covered in black armor. They stood in open space, walking across the void toward the council station. The last scan blinked red. Unknown life form detected status. Moving fast destination. Council docs warning. Systems COMPR, ISID. Then everything went dark. The council station, orbiting the neutral moon of Kradios, had never felt fear. It was the largest political structure in the galaxy, huge, advanced, proud. Protected by 6 planetary shields and 200 defense satellites, it was considered untouchable. For centuries, it had been the heart of diplomacy, power, and peace. Until today, because today, Earth arrived. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, representatives from over 500 alien species sat in floating chairs, laughing and whispering to each other. Is it real? A furry Zenth diplomat chuckled, sipping bright green liquid. Earth sent that thing. Looks like an old mining barge from a dead star system. A Quan general sneered. Even the elder rulers, beings thousands of years old, leaned back and smiled. The giant view screen showed Earth's warship entering orbit slowly, silently, and unnaturally calm. It was dark. To dark. No lights, no insignia, no communication, just a massive ship, wide as a moon, moving like it had no care in the universe. Ambassador Krava of the Valari was the only one not laughing. He stood near the center, his blue eyes wide, his claws trembling. They told you not to strike again, he whispered. The hall quieted slightly. What was that, Valeri? One of the council heads asked with a mocking grin. Krava turned to face them, his voice shaking. Earth said one line before their silence. Do not strike again. And what did you do? You bombed a Terran outpost. You killed 2,000 of their kind. They should be thankful we even noticed them. Someone laughed from the shadows. But outside, the shadows grew darker. As the sovereign vow approached the council station, something strange began to happen. Every satellite around the station blinked and went dead. A second later, the outer planetary shields flickered then. Failed emergency alarms sounded across the assembly. They're attacking? Someone shouted, but no shots had been fired. The ship had done nothing, it just existed, and the most advanced defenses in the galaxy were failing one by one. In the command center, engineers and soldiers panicked. "Sir, we're losing systems communications. Weapons, internal sensors. Why? Are they using some kind of weapon? No energy signatures detected. It's sucking power without touching anything." And then came the whisper. Every species, every device, every brain-linked system across the council heard it. A voice, cold, metallic, human. Observation complete. Hostile environment confirmed. Stand by, then. Silence. In the assembly hall. Fear replaced laughter. Council head Rakon stood up, sweating. "This is unacceptable. Earth has no right to." The walls around him groaned. The floor trembled. Outside the massive window, the sovereign vow slowly turned, revealing its underside, and for the first time, the council saw something they had not expected. Under the warship were hangars, dozens of them, each the size of a city. From them, smaller ships emerged, shaped like daggers. Silent, smooth, dark as space. They did not lock weapons. They just floated around the council station, like vultures circling. A dying beast, Ambassador Craver's voice, broke the silence again. "You all thought Earth was weak, that they were outdated, that they were soft. But you don't understand humans." He walked to the center of the hall, his voice rising. "Humans are patient. They are quiet until they are not. And when they move, they do not come to talk." He pointed outside. "That ship is not here for a speech. It is here to watch, to decide." Inside the warship Sovereign Vow, there was no chaos, no shouting, just silence. Rows of human officers sat in front of glowing blue consoles. A single woman, Admiral Rhea Morgan, stood in the center. Her face was calm, her voice soft. "Status, all. Council defenses offline, shields down, satellites disabled. No casualties." "Good," she said. "Do we send a message?" her second asked. Morgan shook her head. "No, let them feel what silence means." Back in the council hall, the alien leaders argued, shouted, and pointed fingers. What do they want? Why don't they say anything? Should we attack first? Then came the second signal. A message, simple and cold, displayed across every screen, every system, every mind link. "You struck us. Now we have arrived. You will not get another warning." Outside, the Sovereign Vow began to move again, but not forward. It simply rose, higher and higher, until it disappeared into the black dot. No shots fired, no damage done, but every species in that council hall felt it deep in their bones. The message was clear. Earth did not come to negotiate. They came to decide. Final scene cliffhanger as the alien ambassadors began panicking and preparing emergency responses deep in a distant part of the galaxy far beyond map. The Galactic Council's main chamber had never been this quiet, not during the Melkar crisis, not even when the Zarn Empire collapsed. Now the silence was crushing. Every alien leader, from the tall and cold-blooded Vrol to the insectoid minds of the Triku hive, sat frozen. Their eyes, all colors, shapes, and sizes, were locked on the massive HOLO-screen. There it was, Earth's warship, Sovereign Vow, floating outside the galactic station, still, silent, waiting. It didn't send a message, didn't request docking, didn't even move, but its presence was overwhelming. Its black surface swallowed light. Its engines hummed so low that it disrupted nearby systems. Communication arrays across the station flickered. Some died completely. Ships parked near the station drifted slightly, their stabilizers confused by the warship's gravitational field. The sovereign vow wasn't just big, it wasn't just quiet, it was ... wrong. Like something that didn't belong in this part of the galaxy. Something too old, too patient, too angry. Ambassador Sorrel of the Ventari Republic stood and tried to keep his voice steady. This is an intimidation tactic. Humans have always tried to look bigger than they are. No one replied, not even the loud-talking Grathans, who just hours ago had laughed at Earth's invitation. No one was laughing now. The station's lights dimmed for a second. The temperature dropped a degree. Inside the station, several sensitive species began to shiver or twitch. Commander Hellas, head of the Council's defense fleet, spoke next. We still have superior numbers. This ship cannot stand against all of us. Someone from the Dravic corner whispered, but what if it doesn't need to? Outside the chamber, military officers worked frantically. The main scanner arrays couldn't pierce Sovereign Vow's hull, no. One could get a read on its weapons. No one could tell if it even had a crew. Even its power signature was strange. It pulsed like a heart, slow, heavy, ancient. And then it changed. The pulse stopped. The ship went completely dark. Inside the chamber, the holoscreen turned black. Panic started to rise. Did they shut it down? Someone asked. No, answered a lyric technician, his voice shaking. They just disappeared from our sensors. But they're still there. A soft, deep tone echoed across the council station. Not a broadcast, not a transmission. It was a vibration, felt in the bones. The same tone repeated every 10 seconds. No language, no pattern, just a low sound, like something old waking up. And that's when the council remembered the last message. Earth had sent just one line. Do not strike again. Suddenly, the screens came alive again. But it wasn't the warship. It was Earth's ambassador. Ambassador Rhea Morgan, human representative to the council. She stood in the chamber doorway, silent, calm, wearing a black suit with a silver pinner, small planet, and a sword. I warned you, she said softly. Earth speaks only once. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried like thunder through the chamber. You killed 2,000 of our people. You struck a peace outpost. You did it for fun. To prove a point. She walked slowly toward the council table. No more warnings. No more talks. She looked up at the screen behind her. The warship's shadow returned. You are being measured. Judged. Some council members began to yell. This is a threat. You cannot dictate law. We are the ruling force of this galaxy. But Ambassador Rhea didn't flinch. Earth was not invited to rule, she replied. We came to end the game. At that moment, every light in the station turned red. Alarms stayed silent, but red lights pulsed across every system. Weapon systems on the council's ships powered down. Shields failed. Even their emergency thrusters refused to respond. One by one, the most powerful fleets in the galaxy became helpless. Outside, Sovereign Vow didn't move, didn't speak, but it was watching, and whatever it was doing it had just started. Councillor Terak of the Azari Combine, known for his calm and wisdom, finally whispered what others were too afraid to say. That's not just a ship, it's a judgment engine. A silence followed. Then a second pulse vibrated through the station, heavier, sharper. Someone screamed, not in pain, in fear, because this pulse wasn't mechanical, it was biological. The ship was alive, back on Earth, in a hidden command center. Buried deep beneath Greenland's ice, General Mira Holden watched the Council station feed. She gave no orders. She didn't smile. She simply turned to the room of human commanders behind her and said, "Phase 1 complete. We've shown them the shadow." She paused. "Now we prepare the storm." Cliffhanger for Part 4, Across the Outer Rim of the Galaxy. Long dead Terran. Relay stations activate for the first time in centuries. Unknown signals begin pulsing in rhythm with sovereign vow. But the signals are not coming from Earth. They're coming from deep space, from outside the galactic edge, from the place humans once called the wound beyond stars, a region no one ever returned from. Something old is answering Earth's call, and it's not friendly. The Council station was never meant to feel cold. It hovered in orbit over the world of Mikaris, powered by solar beams and shielded from the void of space by layers of advanced atmospheric fields. Inside, diplomats from every major civilization walked under golden lights and soft hums. The station was designed for peace, for order, for calm, but now it felt like a tomb. Outside the station, Earth's warship, the Sovereign Vow, remained still. No weapons had fired. No boarding parties had landed. And yet, the air inside the council chambers felt sharp and heavy, like lightning before a storm. High Admiral Kethrall of the Venari Confederation leaned forward in his seat. His voice cracked. Through the silence, trying to cut through the tension. "This is absurd," he said. "We invited a dying world to speak for show, and now they've brought a ... relic," whispered Ambassador Yori of the Delcar Syndicate, her eyes locked on the ship beyond the transparent wall. Relics do not block starlight with their shadow. Some council members shifted uncomfortably. Others whispered to their aides. Data. Pads flashed with error messages. Some communication links had gone dark. A few systems across the station were failing one by one. Life support was holding, for now. Suddenly, a tone echoed through the chamber, deep and strange. Not a voice, not music. A pulse, boom. The walls trembled lightly. Then again, boom. The central council dais lit up. Without warning, no one activated it. No one gave access. The holographic center usually projected the speaker's symbol. But this time, it glowed blood. Red, in the center, a single emblem rotated slowly. The ancient seal of Earth's Terran Defense Force. A sword within a circle. The blade was cracked, but still upright. Then the voice came. It was human, deep, calm, and cold. "You summoned Earth to speak. Earth has arrived." There was no video, no image of the speaker, just the voice. "We warned you, do not strike again. You ignored it. High Chancellor Vaughn of the Zellery Republic stood. You destroyed a galactic station without warning." "That is correction," the voice replied, cutting him off. "We erased a military relay hub used to coordinate a genocidal attack against Earth's outpost on Gara 7. 2,000 civilians died. There will be no warnings." Gasps rippled across the room. A few members tried to leave. Security doors locked them in, not by their own systems, by something else, something hijacking their controls. "You will listen," the voice continued, "not because Earth demands it, but because your survival depends on it." Outside, the Sovereign Vow shifted position. It did not fire. It did not speak. It simply moved. Closer, several ships around the station attempted to reposition defensively. But the moment they activated engines, their systems shut down. Not by explosion, not by attack, just silence. Systems dead, controls frozen, as if the sovereign vow had reached into their ships and turned them off. Inside the chamber, panic finally broke, screaming, running, alarms, and above it all, the human voice remained calm. Earth will not repeat its message. Strike again, and we will come in numbers. Another beat, another silence. And this time, the stars themselves will remember who truly ended the age of war. The hologram shut off. The lights flickered back to normal. Doors unlocked. Power returned to the outer ships. But the shadow of Earth's warships still loomed outside. Unmoved, a whisper spread through the council halls like wind through dry leaves. They didn't even threaten us. They just showed us. In the back corner of the chamber, a young diplomat from the Durati League stared out the observation window. The humans. They didn't fire a shot, he said. No, replied his elder, voice dry. They didn't need to. Cliffhanger, in a deep chamber far below the council floor. Hidden from public access, a red emergency beacon begins blinking. A warning. Sent from a long-range probe near the galactic edge. An unknown fleet is moving. Not alien, not Terran, but ancient, and they are heading straight for Sol. The War Titan's sovereign vow hovered silently above the Galactic Council station, its enormous black hole blotting out stars like a living shadow. Below it, panic spread through the Council's halls. Security systems kept glitching communication. Relays jammed, and many species translators failed completely in the presence of the Terran ship's strange interference field. Inside the council chamber, Supreme Coordinator Dravik of the Thalax Confederacy shouted over the chaos, "Get me a full scan of that thing. I want to know what kind of reactor it's using." "No readings, sir," a Zan technician replied, trembling. "It's absorbing all scans. It's like the ship doesn't want to be seen." Ambassador Lyra of the Solari blinked her shimmering violet eyes. "Or it's showing us only what it chooses," she said softly. The council room, once full of laughter, was now heavy with unease. Delegates whispered among themselves. The older races, like the Valarian Wren, had gone completely silent. Some even stood up and bowed in the direction of the viewport. Respect or fear. Dravik slammed a fist on the console. "We will not be intimidated by Earth. They were a minor planet until a century ago, but no one agreed. No one even nodded. Not after what happened the day before. A small fleet of ships 50 strong had followed the sovereign vow as it approached. They had not attacked. They hadn't even transmitted. But their ships had failed. Entire power systems burned out. One ship's reactor exploded without warning. 2 more had vanished from sensors, completely gone. The council had no explanation. The humans had not responded to messages. No threats, no demands, only silence. And that silence was louder than war drums. Meanwhile, within the great ship, Captain Reyna Solari stood on the bridge of the Sovereign Vow. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were focused like steel. She watched the data stream from external scans. Every probe the Council launched toward them was being swallowed by their ship's Veil array. "They're watching us. They think we're here to attack," her first officer said. Reyna didn't answer immediately. Then she whispered, "Good. Let them wonder. Let them fear." She walked to the observation deck. From there, she could see the council station, a fragile silver flower floating in space. Thousands of diplomats and leaders from across the galaxy inside. All waiting, all afraid. "We do not strike first," she said, more to herself than anyone else, "but we will make sure they remember Earth." She tapped a button on her wrist console. Back across the council station. Every screen flickered. Then a symbol appeared. It was simple, just a star, surrounded by 7 broken chains. The old emblem of Earth's war, division commissioned 100 years ago. One Thorn diplomat gasped. That symbol, it was banned after the Red Harvest. The humans weren't allowed to use it again. The ambassador from Earth, a man named Eli Cross, stepped forward into the chamber at last. He had not said a word since arriving. Now he looked around, calm and composed. "This is your only warning," Eli said in a clear voice. "Do not strike Earth again. Do not test what still sleeps beneath our silence." One of the younger species, the reptilian Zeth, scoffed. "You expect us to believe Earth still has strength left? One ship and some old threats." But before Eli could respond, the entire council station rumbled, not from an attack, but from something older, deeper. A sound beneath sound, a deep hum, filled the air, the kind of vibration that came from ancient engine swans, not built for peace. Eli looked up at the ceiling, then back at the council. "You asked for proof." From the darkness of space, just behind the sovereign vow, another form began to emerge. Not a ship, a structure, a massive ring-shaped construct, the size of a moon, phased into view. The council had no record of its approach. No sensors had seen it, but it was there now. And it was Terran, carved into its hull in deep black letters. Project Nemesis Part 5 ends herewith. Stunned silence. Eyes wide, and one question echoing across every mind in the chamber. What else had Earth built? During its century of silence, the lights inside the council station flickered again. It was the 3rd time in less than an hour. Engineers raced through the maintenance shafts, confused, frightened. The power core was stable. No damage, no attacks, but something unseen was pressing against their systems, heavy, strange. Almost like gravity itself was shifting. In the grand hall, leaders from over 70 species sat in silence. The massive shadow of Earth's warship still stretched across the glass dome. No one dared speak. Only one being dared move. High Commander Lurok of the Van Dominion stood, arms folded behind his back. His deep purple skin shimmered with light from the station's failing dome. "Is this some Terran trick?" he asked, voice full of mockery. "One ship, and now our station shakes." The silence was his only answer. Just then, the floor trembled. Not an explosion, not a quake, a pulse that every being on the station felt it in their bones. Energy spike. Someone shouted from the control balcony. "It's coming from the Terran ship." The sovereign vow had not moved from its orbit. No weapons were raised. No shields activated. Yet the energy readings were rising. "Redirect satellites. Pull back the outer patrols," shouted the station commander. But it was too late. A ripple moved through space, silent, invisible. But when it touched the outer defense fleet, 22 ships went dark. Their lights blinked out like dying stars. No explosion, no sound, just silence. The council chamber exploded into panic. Was that a weapon? Did Earth just fire? Where's the damage? Where's the debris? The Terran ambassador, silent until now, stood from his seat. He looked old. Human years suggested he was near 90. Wrinkled, slow, harmless, but his eyes held no fear. He spoke with a voice that carried through the chaos. Calm, cold, that was not a weapon. The entire room turned toward him. That, he said, was a warning. Commander Lurik snarled. A warning. You shut down ships from orbit. Who gave you the right? The ambassador didn't blink. You gave us that right. When you destroyed the Mars colony, when you ignored our warning, when you laughed at Earth's silence. He stepped forward. Earth's warships don't fight like yours. We don't aim to impress. We aim to erase. Another ripple passed. Through the room, not through the walls, but through their minds. A telepath among the Thalkiri screamed and fell to the floor, clutching his head. He muttered in fear. It's awake. It's not a ship, it's alive. Gasps spread. The Sovereign Vow's presence wasn't mechanical. It was felt, as if something ancient had opened its eyes and was now watching. Is this a weaponized AI? A Zarn diplomat asked. The ambassador answered softly. It is more than that. Outside the station, the warship began to glow along its lines, deep blue veins of energy tracing ancient patterns. It did not open fire. It did not move. It waited, Council defense ships prepared to launch a countermeasure. Fighters scrambled, but as they approached the warship, their engines failed one by one. Pilots ejected in panic, drifting helplessly into the void. None of them died. None of them were harmed, but all of them got the message. Earth could strike. It chose not to. A projection lit up in the chamber. It showed Earth zoomed in from 1,000 satellites. Thousands more ships were rising from the surface. Massive hangars on every continent opened. Orbital docks activated. War was not declared, but Earth was waking up. Ambassador Kepler looked to the Council once more. You said Earth was outdated, weak, forgotten. You were wrong. He turned toward the wide glass window showing the warship. We are the forgotten forge, the buried fire. We don't ask for power. We are power. The Sovereign Vow's engines thrummed once, shaking the Council station again. It was not war. Not yet, but it was coming. And every species in the galaxy felt it. A shadow had arrived, and it would not leave until a price was paid. The entire Galactic Council station was silent now. The laughter, the mocking, the disbelief, that was all gone. The warship's Sovereign Vow had not fired a single shot, and yet half the station's systems were offline, navigation instead. Communication scrambled with strange frequencies. Even the gravity control fluctuated like the ship's presence distorted reality itself. Councillor JCS of the Valari sat frozen in his hover seat, staring at the view screen. The Terran ship remained there, silent, still, watching, but something was different today. A light flickered on the underside of the Sovereign Vow. Not a weapon, not a signal, it was a symbol. A glowing mark in bright red. A Terran warning. No second warnings. Councillor Yura of the Antraxians whispered. Her voice trembled. That symbol was legendary, even in human history. It meant war had already begun. In the heart of the Council, the emergency chamber was crowded. Species that once laughed now shouted over each other, demanding answers, plans, anything. But no one had a solution. The Corin Admiral, General Drac, slammed a fist into the table. It's a bluff. Humans are weak. Look at their history. They lost more wars than they won. Councillor JC slowly turned his head. And yet, they survived every single one. Why? No one answered. He leaned forward. Because They don't fight like us. They don't care about treaties. They don't care about diplomacy when you hit them first. Another screen activated. It showed deep space movement around the Sol system. Not ships, not fleets. It looked like shadows, moving in impossible ways, wrapping around stars, bending light itself. Inside the Sovereign Vow, Captain Elara Trent stood at the command platform, her crewcom focused, silent. They had been trained for this moment. For years, Earth's true strength was hidden, kept in the dark. But now, the shadows were awake. Status of Operation Silence, she asked, engaged. Phase 2 ready, replied the AI, known only as Ghost. Elara nodded. The Council believes we're here to talk. But we warned them now. We act. She looked at the screen showing the Council station, panicked, scared, helpless. Begin the demonstration. A message in the Dark A transmission arrived on every Council screen. It wasn't encoded. It wasn't formal. It was just a human voice. You were warned. Then the station lights flickered. Every ship near the Council station suddenly lost control, power down, engines off, drifting. Some ships crashed into each other. Others tumbled, helpless, and through the chaos, the Sovereign Vow did not move. Not once. Species in panic in far systems. The shockwave of fear spread. The Grelk Empire sent peace envoys. The Sornari ordered immediate retreat from Terran borders. Even the warlike Dizorn Dominion began recalling fleets. They all saw the footage. One ship, no weapons fired. And yet, hundreds of ships disabled in seconds. The legend of Earth was no longer myth, but deep in soul. Something stirred on Pluto's surface, hidden beneath layers of ice. A beacon activated, old, ancient, predating the current Terran age, and from Neptune's shadow, shapes began to move. Not human, not alien. Something else connected to Earth. Built by Earth. Or maybe, Earth was built by them. Back on the Council station, emergency lights flickered. Fires burned in sealed halls. And above it all, the Sovereign Vow remained. Elara watched the chaos unfold. She turned to her crew. Prepare. The final phase. Should we send another warning? The AI asked. She shook her head. They had their chance. Cliffhanger. Suddenly, every galactic system hears a new signal. It doesn't come from Earth. It doesn't come from the ship. It comes from the black space between galaxies. A deep voice, cold, mechanical, phase 1 complete. Humanity has been cleared for ascension. Ascension. The Council panics because that voice wasn't human, and whatever Earth had just triggered was far beyond war. The Council chamber on Zatha Prime had never been this quiet. Every alien leader sat in silence, eyes fixed on the massive screens. There was no more laughter, no more mocking Earth. The shadow of the human ship Sovereign Vow still lingered over the Council station, like a warning written in darkness. For 3 days, the ship hadn't moved. It didn't dock, it didn't speak. It only waited. Then came the message. A single word, not spoken, just displayed on every system in the station, in every known language. Ready. No further explanation. No threat. No demand. Just the word dready echoing in silence. The Zarkon ambassador, once bold and mocking, now trembled as he stared at the message. Ready for what? He whispered. Council leader Threx of the Verni stood up slowly. We ignored Earth. Too long, he said. We saw them as weak, as outdated, but now they say nothing. And yet, we feel fear. One by one, ships around the council station began to malfunction. Navigation systems glitched. Engines refused commands. The artificial gravity flickered on and off in waves. And then, from the sovereign vow, a pulse of soundless energy swept. Across nearby vessels, 10 council ships, destroyers, frigates, even cruisers, powered down completely. No explosion. No weapons fired. Just silence and darkness. Sovereign vow had shut them off without touching them. How? Gasped the Kaleri technician. That kind of field control, it's impossible. Not for humans, muttered a voice from the back. It was Varroan, the elder of the Volari. His people had warned the council many times about Earth. They knew the old stories. They build ships like hammers, he said. Not for speed, not for beauty, but for the final blow. Just then, another message appeared. You hurt one of ours. We are ready. Ambassador Jewel from the Scythian Confederacy stepped forward. It was a mistake, he shouted into the chamber. We didn't mean to destroy that colony. We thought it was abandoned. There was no answer. Suddenly, holographic projections filled the chamber images of the destroyed human colony. Bodies, children, flames. The humans had recorded it all. Now the council saw every second. Even the most warlike species in the room looked away. The final image, a child, no older than 5, clutching a melted toy while looking up at the sky. Then, the screen turned black. On the station's outer sensors, movement appeared. Small signals, hundreds of them. Ships, drones, unknown tech. They weren't coming from Earth. They were coming from behind stars, from within black holes, from places sensors should not detect. The Vanai commander gasped. How are they doing? This sovereign vow wasn't their only ship, said Varroan quietly. It's just the one they wanted us to see. The shadows in the sky started to move closer. One of them shimmered briefly, revealing a ship the size of a moon, shaped like a blade, darker than space itself. The station lights flickered again. Panic spread. Council guards ran for weapons. Some tried to escape to their ships, but their hangars were locked. All locked. By Earth. Sovereign vow had taken control of every port, every exit, every engine near Zother Prime. The humans had not come to negotiate. They had come to show power. Cliffhanger. Ending, as alarms blared and systems failed. One final message appeared across all council networks. It was not a threat, it was a countdown. 24 hours remaining. The timer ticked down. What would happen when it reached 0? No one knew, but every being in the chamber felt it deep inside. Their bones. The humans were about to make their move, and no one could stop them. The council thought the worst was over. The warship Sovereign Vow had just left orbit. They thought Earth was bluffing. They thought the humans came to scare, not to strike, but deep in the remains of the council's main battle station. Something was left behind. Something not machine and not human. Something Earth built for only one reason: to wake when betrayed, and now it wakes. Main story. Darkness filled the ruined battle station known as Kiral Core. Fires flickered inside, broken hallways. The council's once great defense outpost now floated silent in space. Wreckage drifted everywhere. Bodies, crushed metal, dead circuits. But in the deepest chamber, something began to glow. It was a black pod, 5 meters tall, smooth, no markings. Hidden inside a vault no alien could access. Even when the Sovereign Vow had left orbit, The council's salvage teams ignored it. They thought it was human trash. Now, the pod cracked open. A hiss, a pulse, a sound like a heartbeat but mechanical. Then it stood up. It wasn't a soldier. It wasn't a robot. It was both Titan Protocol 9.A, human design, failsafe unit. Programmed with only one purpose: respond to betrayal with absolute destruction. Its eyes lit up red. The Council's strike on the humans had broken all peace laws. Earth had warned them, but they still attacked. Titan 9 was the answer. Meanwhile, across the galaxy and the Council planet, Zatha Prime, a new meeting was taking place. Leaders from every species argued loudly. The humans overreacted, shouted a relic commander. They sent only one ship, and that was enough to destroy 2 fleets, hissed a Slon diplomat. A Vorex admiral slammed his tentacle on the table. That ship, Sovereign Vow, it bent space. We couldn't track it. We couldn't fight it. This is not diplomacy, it's domination. Then a quiet voice spoke. It was the Drakari Elder, the oldest species in the Council. He only said 5 words. We made a deadly mistake. Everyone turned to him. The Elder looked up slowly. You do not understand humanity. They are not like us. They do not warn twice, and they never forget betrayal. The room went cold. Titan 9 begins its taskback at the wrecked station. Titan 9 accessed the communication systems. Its fingers pierced into melted panels. Electricity sparked around its arms. One by one, systems came back online. Then Titan 9 spoke. This is Protocol Unit 9. Message to Earth Command. Betrayal confirmed. Stage 2 initiated. On Earth, the signal was received instantly, and just as quickly, Earth responded with 2 words: begin cleansing. Titan 9 turned toward the remains of the Council station. Then it activated its internal systems. Nano-drones spilled from its back. Millions of them. They ate everything: steel, fuel, bodies, even light. Within hours, Chiral Core was gone, not destroyed, erased. Galactic panic spreads when Council probes arrived to inspect Chiral Core the next day. They found nothing. No wreckage, no radiation, no heat, just silence. An emergency session was called. The Valari Queen shouted, "This is extinction-level technology." The Droon ambassador asked the question everyone feared. What if this Titan was only the first? No one answered then. The lights in the Council chamber flickered. The emergency comlink buzzed. Motion detected. Zeta Sector. Origin, Earth. On the screen, a map appeared. Red lines moved from Sol toward the core systems. Fast, unnatural. Then the screen showed a symbol. Not words, not a flag, just the image of a war helmet and, underneath, a single phrase. We warned you. Cut 2. Earth commanding a dark room on Earth's moon base. 5 human commanders stood around a hologram. One of them, old man with grey eyes, spoke quietly. Phase 2 is complete. Titan 9 has done its job. Another commander nodded. Council still doesn't get it. A third added, they will soon. The hologram shifted to show 5 more Titan units. Still sleeping, still waiting. The old man whispered, let's wait the next one. Ending scene on a faraway Council world. Children play in the streets. A sudden shadow darkens the sky. A huge black figure drops from orbit without a sound. No warning. No fire, just red eyes. Titan 1 has arrived, and it has no mouth to speak, only weapons, only judgment. The council station was burning. Alarms howled in every corridor. Fires raged through the once proud chambers of diplomacy. Debris floated in zero gravity while diplomats screamed or prayed, and in the center of the chaos floated Earth's warship, Sovereign Vow. Its armor was cracked, its hull burned, but it still hovered silent, deadly, untouched by fear. Commander Alara stood on the ruined bridge, staring at the screen, only 3 minutes left before total reactor detonation. Beside her, Lieutenant Ramos coughed up blood. Half his face was burned, but he still manned the weapons. "All enemy ships destroyed, ma'am," he said quietly. "But they're sending more." Alara nodded. She already knew that the Zarkath Empire, the Tralian Syndicate, and the Voxani Enclave had united. Their entire fleets, over 4,000 warships, were en route, and Earth had only one ship left. This one, the Sovereign Vow. 5 days earlier, when the War Titan had first arrived at the Council, everyone laughed. They mocked the size, mocked the age, mocked its human crew. But when it powered up, laughter died. Entire security grids collapsed. Artificial gravity destabilized. A single pulse from its main cannon disabled 3 elite cruisers without firing a shot. Now, 5 days later, the station was nearly destroyed, and the galaxy finally understood. Earth was not weak. Earth had simply been waiting. The Council's final mistake. The Council had given the order. Destroy the Sovereign Vow. Earth must never rise again. Dozens of alien species agreed. They launched fleets, fired missiles, jammed communications. But Earth had prepared. They had hidden weapons. Deep in the Titan's belly. Plasma mines, quantum lances, drones that could rewrite enemy systems mid-flight. As thousands of ships closed in, Alara whispered one order: show them Earth's last gift. And with that, the Sovereign Vow unleashed everything. The sky turned white, the sacrifice inside the bridge. Fire burst from every wall. Systems failed. Life support dropped. Ilara coughed, her lungs filling with smoke. Evacuate, she told the crew. Now, but only 4 were left. Ramos, the engineer twins, and the AI core, Vega. They refused to leave. Commander Vega said calmly, even if they flee, there is no escape radius. Detonation will reach 10 light minutes. Alara looked at her people, what remained of the manned, gave a slow nod. Then we stay. Together, last transmission to Earth before the final order. Alara activated the secure uplink to Earth. The screen flickered. A general from command appeared. Eyes wide. Alara, what are you doing? Finishing it, she replied. The Council betrayed us. We warned them. They struck first. And now they will see the cost. She paused. Tell Earth we didn't run. Then she smiled. And tell them the stars remember. 10 seconds. The countdown ticked. 10, 9, 8. Alien warships screamed toward the Council station, desperate to destroy the Sovereign Vow before it could complete its final act. 7, 6, 5. Vega hummed softly. Would you like music, Commander? Ilara chuckled through the blood in her mouth. Play something old. A slow piano began. 4, 3. Everyone on board stood tall. 2. The stars lit up. The detonation, the Sovereign Vow, exploded in complete silence. There was no flameonly light. A wave of energy burst from its core, folding space. ripping gravity apart. The enemy fleets never had time to scream. The council station shattered like glass. One moment, there were thousands of ships. The next, only silence. Aftermath in the weeks that followed, all communication across the central galactic sectors went dark. Wormholes collapsed. Power grids failed. Entire sectors gone. But from deep in Earth's command bunker, one signal kept broadcasting over and over. Humanity does not start wars, but we will end them. You were warned. This was mercy. The galaxy reacts across 100 species. The same realization struck. Earth had sacrificed their last warship, and still suddenly, all plans to invade Earth vanished. No more spies, no more threats. Some species even sued for peace, begging for forgiveness. Others fled, deleting Earth's name from their databases, and some whispered legends about a titan, a shadow in the stars, a ghost that ended a war before it began. 1 year later, a small alien child on the planet Valexia asked their parent, "Why do we never go near Earth?" The parent's face grew pale, because, they whispered, Earth sent only one ship, and that was enough.